Outpost 17 is here, and today I'm going to go through the upgrade paths that I recommend for both PvE and PvP. If you don't upgrade things in the correct order, you may unfortunately find yourself unable to compete in various different events. Let's go ahead and go through the upgrades. Hey everyone, Derpy here, and welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. The first thing that you're going to want to upgrade is actually the Outpost itself. And if you did save enough tokens, like I almost did, you can actually get through most of this 22-day upgrade pretty quickly, if not instantly. Now I will say that we are in a bit of a purgatory right now with a new PvP ranking system, which unfortunately means that we don't actually know if damage to bases is going to be persistent or not persistent, etc. And unfortunately, bubbles only last 8 hours, and the repair time, while it has been reduced from what it was, is not insignificant. Now, as I am recording this video, the Outpost is temporarily, and everything in the base actually, is temporarily repairing instantly. There's no damage actually done, which means right now is actually a really good time to upgrade this. I will also mention that the first building coming out with the Outpost is the Fusion Factory, which is not currently available. So expect more info on that next week when it does come out. But if you are a PvP or PvE rather player, you will likely want to prioritize this thing when it comes out pretty early. But the first thing you want to go through is do the Outpost. By the way, make sure you have a construction officer assigned. You can really only get these through playing on Facebook, but it is pretty critical to reducing your build time on this one dramatically. Now, after you do the Outpost, the first thing you want to do is use all of your different turret defensive platform build tokens, which you can go ahead and look at in the structure, and I can see that I do have a handful of these. I have 4 out of 10 3-day defense platform build tokens. You can use these on your turrets, and I'll get 4 turrets upgraded to level 20 pretty quickly, which will increase the armor and the power capacity. Power capacity is not an issue right now, but I would bet a lot of money that the next weapon that comes out in the next conquest is going to have or require this 400k power in order to use and equip properly. So that's the second thing you want to do, regardless of your PvE, whatever. Use all your tokens on that defense platform. Now, there is likely going to be a TLC that sticks around that you can do to get more of these tokens. I would highly recommend doing that one and working that into your upgrade priority in a smart way. Okay, now the third thing you want to do is upgrade your dock. And this is true for PvE, whatever, because the dock maximum weight right now is 4.25 tons. Upgrading the dock is going to actually increase this to basically 7 million instead of 4.25 million, and this is critical to using 5 of the new Invictus in a fleet. Even using 4 of them in a fleet would be difficult using the dock, or impossible rather, using dock level 20 with the current full build that we're generally using. And I would not be surprised for the next PvP ships to have the same issue, so definitely recommend that you do this very quickly. Try and get it done before Strike 1 if possible. Otherwise, before Raid 1, so you can fully use a 4-ship fleet, for instance. That's what most people plan to do, is 4 ships plus an evade flag. I'm actually going to be running 3, so it doesn't really matter for me, but I still intend to do this very quickly. At this point, the paths tend to diverge a little bit. You could be a PvP-focused player who wants to compete at the highest level and only pay attention to that stuff. In that case, you should upgrade the rest of your turrets, which you can likely get your main 12 turrets done with tokens, etc. And you should get your portals done very quickly. Now, similar story to the portals, or similar story to the turrets, is that the armor increase is nice and the power capacity increase does not matter right now, but the next gate that we get is going to require this power capacity increase in order to equip. So you should spend 60 days worth upgrading your portals, or just wait and take the limited time offer when it comes out for like $20, $40, whatever it is, to upgrade your portals to level 13 at once. Pick one of those two. I would decide it now, and if you intend to take the LTO later, don't even start the first one, because unlike PvE upgrades, the price does not actually decrease as you have more of these, which is a little silly. And then the other thing, if you are a PvP player, is you want to make sure you upgrade the Saw Factory, which I can actually not show you the stats of on the, in live in game, but you can spend the time to upgrade it. It's just 1 level, not 3, to get a new mine, which not only deals damage over time, which is great, but it also jams enemy weapons completely. So it's a very powerful mine, and I would definitely recommend using 1 to 2 of these minimum in your base if you unlock this one, but you want to focus on that if you are a PvP player. Now, switching gears back into PvE, you want to ignore portals, you want to ignore the Saw Factory, that can wait. What you should instead do is focus on your labs. The labs are really important because they give a 5, 10, and 20 for most things reduction in the various types of things they're for. Naval Lab is for weapons, Advanced Lab is for specials, Weapons Lab is for weapons, and the Intel Lab is for upgrades. Now, it's very, very important that when you're building a ship, you just build a blank ship, which is what everyone's been doing forever, and then refit weapons and stuff like that onto that blank ship. Now, it actually does matter extremely so, the order that you upgrade these, because you only have 4 armors per ship, and it takes like 1 day per armor, 12 hours per armor, which means you should do that one last. The majority of the upgrade time comes from the Intel Lab for the upgrades. That's number 1. And actually, I do have linked in the description of the YouTube video, I'm not going to pull it up here, but I do have a chart that shows you the upgrade kits and times, including what it's going to be if you have the max Intel Lab versus the lowest one. And it's a several day difference in total cumulative per ship if you don't have your Intel Lab here upgraded. So make sure you do this one very quickly. This one, unfortunately, is the one that only gets you, it doesn't go 5, 10, 20, it goes 5, 10, 15, which is a little unfortunate, but whatever, you should still do this one first. You have like a month or more of upgrades per ship to do, and that's your priority. Your second one is going to be the Advanced Lab, generally speaking. This kind of depends on the exact specials you use, but generally the Advanced Lab has some pretty high upgrade or pretty high refit times to add specials on there. Weapons Lab is a close second, and I could even see an argument for swapping these two depending on the ship, if it has more weapons, more specials, whatever, but you're going to want this one to follow very quickly. Naval Lab is definitely last out of these ones because the armors go on very quickly and you have fewer slots of these ones regardless. So that's the order I recommend doing your labs in, and it's very important to get these done to try and alleviate your shipyard pressure, because you spend a lot of your time in PvE planning and managing around your shipyard. And you can even be a little bit strategic about this stuff and wait on doing a refit of armor on, for instance, until you get this last one done, if you have it done in time for the first raid, which you definitely are not going to. So that's in general the PvE timeline on that one. A few other notes of things that will be helpful regardless is you do have a Conquest Yard, and upgrading this one is going to add building damage to all your ships. This is true for both PvE and PvP, which means that instead of, you basically just add 10% to building damage to your ships. Now, unfortunately, it does take several days to upgrade this thing. I think it's 7 days or more, which means that you can't build any ships in your Conquest Yard when this is upgrading. I would encourage you, if you do have a few extra coins laying around here, to check the store, for instance. As you can see, I have a whopping 500, but there are sometimes, and actually pretty often, there are 7-day Conquest Yard upgrade or build tokens for the Conquest Yard, which can have a pretty massive savings on the time spent to upgrade this one. So definitely consider doing that if you are going to have this busy with PvP ships. Another thing to consider is actually the Tactical Lab, because this one will give you evade bonuses here for various different ships. It does 5, 10, and 20. Now, some players, and I think they have a point to this one, like to upgrade this one before their other labs because they want the guaranteed evade bonus. I actually intend to have my ships sort of finish first and make it easier and a shorter time to build my ships, and then go on and add this evade bonus stuff like that afterward. It's definitely nice, but it's not my priority, because my priority is to get the ships cranked out as quickly as possible, and then I'll do the upgrades and stuff that give them nice to haves like more raid and stuff like that later. This is maybe even doubly true when we have events like this one, where we have are expecting to build a flagship with King Killer in the targets, and are going to have a flag evade tank, is the general assumption. And so if upgrading and only putting evade on only helps one ship, that's a little bit silly, rather than helping every ship in the fleet. But it is something you want to do, and if you are a PvE-focused player and want to reduce your damage as much as possible, you would even do this before your portals, before your saw factory, stuff like that. Now, I did actually hear some rumors that Kixeye was looking into a Great Hall upgrade that would make it impossible to rocket this thing and kill it with just one rocket, which means you could take this and you could hide it in the center of your base somewhere, which means that players would actually have to not just drop 2 rockets on you and leave or whatever, one on the Great Hall, one on the radio tower, would actually have to hit your base. If that comes out and is true, I would recommend doing that upgrade if you care about base defense and not giving other people medals. There's also the retrofit lab. This one is nothing crazy, just gives you a repair time reduction for PvP ships. This really only matters if you're doing PvP and are coining stuff out a lot, or are trying to get the conquest targets or vengeance targets or something, which are just other bases, but are trying to get those targets down to a low repair time. I would consider doing that one. It is pretty low on my priority list. Now, I think that's just about everything other than warehouses. Warehouses are just a base power story, essentially. It does increase the armor, but that doesn't really matter. It matters a little bit more, and actually you can see this is an old warehouse that needs to go to level 21. I believe actually that the warehouses either did not come out in this one or are going to a lower upgrade level or something. But if warehouse upgrades do come out, it looks like I can do this one instantly because they change that every time here. You will want to do those because it makes your overall base power situation a little easier, even though we are not super limited on that right now. If warehouse upgrades become available in 6 months or something, I would try and do those there because it does help the overall base power situation. The other thing that I will mention here, and I'm just trying to check if I missed anything and it doesn't look like it did, is that you do want to actually check the TLCs that exist, the campaigns, and even the pillage prizes or strike prizes, because some of these here, and actually there's none currently available, well, other than the Gatecrasher one, actually upgrades you to N-1. It upgrades you to the previous level for free immediately. So if I was a returning player and I got the free Pathfinder fleet from the Forsaken mission, I could go through and do the Gatecrasher TLC and upgrade my labs and stuff to the level that my actual real base currently is 100% for free. And this is a fantastic thing because it allows returning players to actually start to catch up. Otherwise, they would have literal years of upgrades to do on their base. So if you're watching this and you're a little bit newer, you're returning to the game, go ahead and check the Gatecrasher TLC or the strike prizes. Again, the TLC is probably easier because this will get your lab upgraded to where basically all max players were right before the upgrade came out. So definitely take a look at that one. It should generally be a pretty straightforward campaign to complete. And if this is a co-op campaign, which I don't know if it actually is, people in your alliance should generally be able to help you out with that one. That's just about all I have. If you do have other questions on this, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. I want to give a huge thank you to the channel members whose names are appearing on the end screen right about now. They are helping make this video and this channel possible, and about video on the update notes the day the update comes out. That's pretty good. And until next time, this is going to be Derpy, signing out, helping you be a better pirate.